Hey, it's funny. And I I know I haven't been on here for like months. Months, babe. But like I've just been working on trying to get my things in order and just thinking, expanding on thoughts. And honestly, like the seasonal depression has been kicking in like heavy. And so it also made me not upload. And then I got a busier schedule and then just like stuff from that and then dealing with people, treating me a certain way because when you're the pretty girl at work, people start being weird and just feeling so upset about that and having people, make assumptions about you because you're young and you're pretty and you're this and you're that. It became so annoying for me. And then at that time as well, where people again were coming for the exotic space and you know, and it was so fucking stupid. It was so dumb. And yeah, but I wasn't expecting to upload today specifically, but I've just been so frustrated with like, I watch everyone because I want to know how people think. And usually I just kind of like block out and not watch certain content. But I started watching it and I was like watching a range of people and I was like, "Ugh." It just annoyed me so bad. And like I was watching King of Reeds like live and he said some stuff and it just set me off. Like I was already annoyed. And then it's just like, oh yeah, this just added on to it. So I believe he was talking about, well, he was talking about Just Hilarious, right? And how, she doesn't have space to talk about, to be doing gender wars and engaging with them, right? And talking about all of the stuff, right? When she's a dark-skinned black woman. And and saying that, oh, somebody's gonna call you a man. Somebody's always gonna call, dark-skinned black woman a man. And I'm so tired of that rhetoric. I'm so tired of this rhetoric of because you're a minority or because you look a certain way, you can't have a certain opinion on something, on another minority or another identity. I think, let me make this clear. Just Hilarious is a fucking clown and a terrible one at that, right? I still haven't forgotten about how she was profiling this guy who was, I believe, Hindu and said, "Oh, I thought he was like a terrorist or something." And I know damn well Jess Hilarious would be the same person if a white person said, "Oh, I looked at this black person on the plane and I thought, oh, they might steal something or in a like store or a mall, right? And thought, oh, they're a thief when both and be so outraged about that, completely disregarding what she said, right? And how racist that is to think about a, a brown man, right? I'm assuming when both of you are now racist. Both you and the hypothetical white person are racist, right? So I'm not like a just hilarious defender. And, I haven't watched that interview because I don't engage with the Breakfast Club. I'm not engaging with the nonsense of them, right? But it just like every single time it comes to every single time it comes to these people talking about somebody that they disagree with. It's always, well, you're this, so you don't have a right to have an opinion on this. You can't say that. You can't say anything but praises and on your knees pandering and all of this stuff when other people have different opinions. I may not agree with Jess Hilarious, and I'm probably not going to agree with what she said in the interview, because she's a bird. But Does that mean she can't have an opinion because she's a dark-skinned black woman and she can't now say stuff about what she thinks about trans people or gender like gender equality and all, the whole topic with the gender wars? No. And it's really sick how many people how many people in the black community do this thing where it's like, oh, well, you're a dark skinned black woman. How dare you defend this light skinned woman? You're a dark skinned black woman. How dare you not champion trans rights? Do you not, again, I said this before, do you not understand that a lot of black people are conservative, have conservative ideas and values and things like that? Not everybody is so pro trans, not everybody is so pro gay rights and things like that. A lot of people are fucking misogynist. A lot of people are homophobic. A lot of people are transphobic, right? And it's like y'all, and some people aren't even transphobic or homophobic or any of these things, but y'all will just call them that just because. Just because they're not fully agreeing with you, just because they're not outright saying, yes, I completely agree, and I completely agree that they should have this, and that. That doesn't make sense, and y'all keep doing this thing where you hop to extremism instead of using your critical thinking skills because it's so unbelievable for you to be anything more than a victim. It's so hard for you to be anything more than a victim because it goes against your whole narrative. It goes against your whole life because now you can't claim these things. You can't claim you didn't get this because you're dark skinned. You can't claim this because you didn't get something or you weren't treated a certain way because you're fat or you're this or you're that or you're gay. You can't claim any of that. And it's like I just at what point like what are y'all smoking? Like it you must be on the same thing that Nicki Minaj is on. Must be the same stuff, you know? Y'all must have the same dealer, the same one because there's no way. There's no way. And it's so unbelievably, I can't believe how blatantly anti-black, how blatantly, you know, colorist that is. That is so fucking blatantly colorist and so blatantly anti-black to say that oh, you can't think this way as a dark-skinned black woman because at the end of the day, somebody's gonna call you a man. Y- y- I, like, I feel like I'm going crazy. You're telling me that's acceptable. That's acceptable. But if I were to say that, if any exotical was to say that, if any white person was to say that, y'all would have dragged them. That because this is a queer black male, he can say that just fine. He can say that just fine because it falls under this whole Afro pessimism of the black community. Because that it's so fine to say that. It's so fine, and y'all start y'all start sounding like the same you know, white racists that y'all are talking about. Y'all are the same side, two sides of the same coin at this point. It really is because the same things I've heard white racists talk about and say about black people are the same things that y'all say. And the wording isn't too different. It's not too far off, right? And I just hate that the black community is always doing this thing where they will put you in a box. And they love to say we're not a monolith, black people, black women are not a monolith, da da da. But as soon as you don't agree with something, you are now a coon, you are now a mammy, you are now an Uncle Tom, a bedwench, and all of this stuff, and all these slurs, all these horrible, horrible names, right? But that's okay because, oh, I'm a black person saying it. I'm a fellow black person saying it, so it's okay if I call you a slur. It's okay if I say that you're dancing for the white man, you're shucking and jiving and all of this stuff. But that's okay. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here because who cares, right? And I just, the Afro pessimism that is so prevalent is so unbelievably annoying because, contrary to popular belief, I actually love being Black. But convincing other Black people and being around other Black people who absolutely hate it, who hate their skin, who hate their hair, who hate their features, and absolutely resent the fact that they were not born anything but a white Caucasian, but a plainly white person, a WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, a WASP. Yes, because let's be clear about what they want. Let's be clear about their, and even the whole trend of the Scandinavian hairline and this whole resurgence of this weird, like, fascination with the Scandinavians and these very tall, blonde, blue-eyed white women, and well, mostly white women, right? And I said this before in like EU's Discord, but I saw like on search on TikTok, Scandinavian hairline black girl. And I saw what it was, having blonde hair, dyeing your hair blonde at like at the front, right? And then having your hair darker at the back. And it's like y'all are literally trying to, and I think it's even weird on other people, on people that are white and not necessarily Scandinavian, right? Y'all are so obsessed with this one look that you're now trying to conform and transform yourself into this. And you can say, oh, Bunny, it's not that serious, da da da. No, but it is, because when you pair that, so now it's Scandinavian hairline, now it's harsh nose contour, now it's this yellow, bright high yellow concealer, then it's relaxing your hair or getting that Gina curl for, 3B curls or whatever. All of this stuff. And then on top of that, y'all will be slobbering for white peen, talking underneath the comments. Do you like chocolate? And then saying, imagine that whole time where they were saying, oh, black women, you get yourself an Asian man, because Asian men, they're being left by their Asian women counterparts, right? And they're the least picked, and we're the least picked, so we should go together. And once you go Asian, your credit gets the raisin, right? Imagine the only reason you're picking somebody is because of their finances, and because this is your only option. You believe that you guys are your only options, is why you're together. And this is supposed to help you social climb. This is supposed to make your life better, and you know have this whole lo- interracial love fantasy when it's based off of being at the bottom, like they like to call it. That's the whole shtick. And it's like, I hope one day we can talk about how there are so many dark skin, unambiguous dark skin women who absolutely hate mixed women, hate white women, hate all types of women who are benefiting from any ism, right? But are absolutely feral, feral for white men. Anything white, anything non-black, oh, they will let that man call her slurs. They would be doing race play in the bedroom, all of it. And then look at all the divestors who are now having these horror stories about being called slurs and, oh, he abused me. Oh, I have to pay him this money. He's a dusty. I was doing all the working while you were making all the family vlogs on YouTube and saying, oh, look at us, look at our family. They don't want to see black women happy. Everybody's a hater. Take this, black man. Take this, black man. All of this, only, but you didn't address your low racial self-esteem. You ran to that white man, but you didn't address your hatred of yourself, of your race. And now we're all supposed to feel sorry for you. I don't. I don't. Um, because y'all did stuff like, um, does anybody remember this like thing where it was this white guy doing, it was this trend on TikTok where it would be like a slideshow of like girls that they like these guys like, and they would do like a slideshow and be like, oh yes, da, 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 right? And then it would be the stitch. It was the stitch, right? Of this black woman saying, oh, why wasn't there any black girls? It's so disappointing. And if your type is white, just say that. Da, da. You didn't have to add in like a and because most of these white men, they like themselves. They like the way they look and they prefer that. And if they don't date a white woman, they're dating Asian women or they're dating biracial women and things like that, right? Or mixed with white or whatever, right? And she was so upset. And she was like, why you just sprinkled in like a Latina or something. And I don't remember word for word, but I remember just her being upset. And I was thinking to myself, how fucking desperate are you? How desperate are you? These are the most desired, these are the blueprints, but you're begging, slobbering on your hands and knees, begging people to like you. You don't like me, you're a colorist. You don't like my hair, you're a texturist. You don't like this, you don't like that, well, you're racist. Do you see how dumb that sounds? They're insistent on focusing on men that don't like them is so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me because it's so like y'all say it's very clear you're at the bottom because any woman, any person who has something going for themselves and is capable of attracting decent people or people in general, right? Wouldn't be so concerned about people and has healthy esteem, self-esteem, wouldn't be concerned about people that don't like them. That's not a normal thing. That's not a normal thing. I know that's in the community, in the black community, and that's normal for you, right? But people in other communities where they have good racial self-esteem or where they have better in comparison to the black community have better racial self-esteem, they don't think about white people that much. They do not think about whether a white person likes them that much. They're not getting the same talks about, oh, well, you're black, so the world sees you like this, and you're just not gonna amount to anything, and you're just gonna have to deal with that. Your best bet, date a white person. Date black. Date out of your community and then move into a white community, and then your child will obviously be half white, and then they'll date a white person or something like that, and by that time the black is out of there, so you'll be good. That's literally the whole divesting thing. That's literally their whole plan about what they're gonna do to progress the community. Date white. Go to the white community. Black capitalism. That should work. Yeah. Not fixing the communities, not promoting good self-esteem, none of that. Not being black and proud, none of that. Just date a white person, date a white man. You know, who cares? Who cares about your fellow black person? Who cares about your fellow black woman? Don't support her. We'll say we'll support her. And then, we love Doechii. Oh, we'll support Doechii. And then we'll turn around and say, oh, the only people who listen to Doechii are white gays. They started saying that. I find it so when Doechii flops or when Doechii falls off or doesn't get the streams or whatever that y'all were saying that she's getting and she's so popping and all this stuff, I'm gonna look to y'all. I'm gonna look to the dark skinned, unambiguous black women. And I'm gonna start saying, why didn't you support Doechii? Why is Doechii flopping? Why, and it's a mystery to me, why Normani is still a flop. Why did you have to go and pussy pop back to fourth harmony because there's no fifth harmony. The only person who was the real star of the group is gone. Yeah, but it's all just a coincidence. Must be just it was the white people. Oh, nobody supports black women, even though other black women don't support each other. Oh no, oh no, it's just everybody else. It's just everybody else. Everybody else is to blame, not me, not just not other black women, other specifically dark skinned black, unambiguous dark skinned black women who should be supporting their image. No, they'd rather support Beyonce. Despite hating Mariah the Scientist, they're still going to be at her concert. It doesn't matter that Mariah the scientist, according to them, has zero stage presence. They're still going to show up and then say, "She looks so pretty. I wish she could sing. I wish she had more stage presence, but she's beautiful. She's beautiful." Yep, they're gonna do that. They're still going to support Beyonce, even though they say that they hate Jay-Z and they hate black capitalism and all this stuff. They're still gonna support though. They're canceling Mariah Carey right now. Which people should, to be honest. Because that whole ad was absolutely disgusting. You cannot tell me that it wasn't planned, that it wasn't a way to say it wasn't for the overlord to say, yeah, buy my stuff, more capitalism, more consumerism, to line my pockets. Don't care about the poor people. Your SNAP benefits being cut. Who cares? Oh, you're starving. Who cares? Buy my merch. Buy my merch. It's time. Don't Can't you tell it's time? And they know you're gonna still buy it. They know you're still gonna buy it because y'all are dummies. Um, but they will still support Mariah Carey. I've already seen countless people. Um, Mostly dark skinned, unambiguous black women. And guess who else? Unambiguous, dark skinned black men, gay men, who are like, oh, you guys are just hating, you guys are this, that. Okay. And let's not even start on the Huda situation, right? Because the amount of unambiguous dark skinned black women coming out and saying, oh, y'all are just jealous of Huda, da da da, all of this and stuff. But I thought y'all loved Alandria. So why would you defend so harshly, so fiercely, Huda basically kind of brushing off and laughing, whether awkwardly or not awkwardly, it doesn't really matter to me. The immediate response from both her and Louis was terrible. You know, y- a slur was your fellow castmate was called a slur, and you saw nothing wrong with that. Nothing. You decide to awkwardly laugh or whatever and not say that's totally wrong. And you even said to yourself, "Oh, um, we don't know who's gonna come on here." Da, da, da. And you still had them on loudspeaker and had them. I'm not insinuating that they made them say that word. No, but they still called Alandria a slur, a hard ER, and y'all saw like nothing wrong with it. But y'all will defend the people who did that. Y'all will defend Huda tooth and nail. But I thought Huda was a racist. But y'all were just saying that Huda is a racist and she's a cultural appropriator and all this stuff. So I'm so confused at the switch up and all this weirdness and how defensive y'all are for Huda. And like y'all are y'all claim to love to cancel people, all these cultural appropriators and colors and things like that, but y'all are still supporting them. Y'all will go so hard. Now y'all get pretty privilege and pretty punishment and stuff like that, but y'all were just laughing at Sweetie. This is so weird. This is so weird because I thought, oh, you don't complain about being pretty, da da da. And oh, if you really hated being pretty, then you would make yourself ugly and all this stuff. But now y'all understand it. Now, suddenly, when it comes to Huda, who was not a black person, who was not a black woman, y'all can understand that. But when it came to black adjacent women, when it came to exoticals who are black and something else, or who are monoracial but look mixed, y'all couldn't understand it. Y'all couldn't understand any of that. Y'all dragged Sweetie because, oh, you're trying to brag and oh, all of this stuff. But Huda, that's where you draw the line. That's where you bring your capes out for. That's who you bring your capes out for. Okay, okay. Because it's very clear. It's very clear. They love to complain about not being defended and all this stuff, but y'all don't defend each other. You will clearly put non-black people over your own community any day of the week. Any day of the week. Y'all will say black women can't get any shine, but you won't even support them. Won't even support them. I thought y'all said, like, why was No Name, right? Y'all said No Name is so amazing. No Name should be famous. No Name should have all of this stuff, right? Why is her core audience? She came out and said this, I believe, like a few years ago, nearly, what, 4 or 5 years ago, where she said she wanted to quit music because all of her audience is like white, white people, you know? And which is really weird because I thought y'all said you wanted more substance in the music. I thought, and No Name is a good rapper. She's good at what she does, right? So I'm confused as to why y'all don't support her. But no, you're okay with supporting Megan Thee Stallion, right? Even though you think she's bleaching, even though, all this stuff. You y'all are so okay with supporting every other woman, even though you guys claim to hate. Oh, I just wish Megan had more versatility. I just wish she talked about more. But you wouldn't support No Name. You can't support people like Ari Lennox, who when y'all said you wanted more R&B and what happened to R&B and more love songs and stuff like that. What happened to Ari Lennox? Again, did she not come out and say threaten to quit music like No Name and said, "Oh, the only people are supporting me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are white people." So there's a theme going on where y'all are not supporting the people you should be. You should be supporting a No Name. You should be supporting the Ari Lennoxes of the world, but y'all won't do that. Because you don't like your image. You do not like your reflection. You don't like being black. You are Afro pessimistic. You are anti black. But, everybody else is anti black but me. Everybody else but the unambiguous dark skinned black woman is such a racist and colorist and texturist. Doesn't all of the black men are colorist and anti black and all of this stuff, right? Right? Doesn't matter that they got it from their black mothers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Just, you know, put that out of your mind. Doesn't even register here. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. I'm just so over it. I'm so over it. I'm so over the lies. I'm so over the crying and this whole thing of, I'm at the bottom and stuff like that. It's like one of these things where it's a reason why I'm not too comfortable. And it irks me. It honestly irks me when people start saying stuff like light skin privilege or white privilege, right? And I really had to think about why that it irked me. And it's because the privileges that these people talk about, right? Where they're trying to mention that, oh, well, you don't have white privilege, you don't have light skin privilege, so you're gonna have a bad life, right? And it's literally just the privileges are literally just appealing to racists. being more palatable for racists. Like, I don't want to be in community with a racist. I don't want to be in community with a colorist or a texturist or anything like that. I don't, I don't like that doesn't appeal to me, which is why y'all are so quick to spend $1,000 to take pictures with colorist crackhead Chris Brown, but won't support Normani, won't support Ari Lennox, won't support No Name, Coco Jones, who's even that because y'all don't care, even though you were so quick to defend her and say, oh, we need to rally around Coco Jones. She should have been a star by now. And y'all just don't care about it. Y'all just don't care, right? So when people start saying white privilege and light skin privilege and stuff like that, I really, when they start listing out the reasons, it's always, well, you can not deal with this, right? You don't have to deal with the racism. You don't have to deal with colorism and things like that. But somebody, but it's like anything can be a privilege. Anything can be, that's one of the reasons as well why it kind of irks me. And I might not be explaining this like in the best way, but the best way I can explain it right now is that anything can be a privilege. Am I now so for example me, right? The fact that I did not grow up in like a two-parent home and with like the most stable home life, right? With a good relationship with my mother, right? Am I now supposed to tell people that they can't celebrate their mothers, they can't love their mothers and be happy with the relationship that they have because oh you're privileged, so you can't be happy about that. You need to apologize for that. No, I'm not ever going to make people apologize for things that they cannot control. And I really think a lot of people want people to apologize for the privileges when that's it. Privilege is something, a lot of the privileges that people talk about are things that you are born as and things that you cannot control, like being light skinned or having 3B hair or whatever. You cannot. And then, like, are we, it's like when people start talking about these privileges, it's like, is this person supposed to, like, just completely get us to tear down the system and stuff like that? Because look at the way that y'all talk. Y'all literally said, "Oh, if I was light skinned, if I was foreign, if I was exotic, I would have been a model. I would have been running up these niggas' bags and stuff like that and stuff like all this stuff." But everybody else with a privilege that you don't have, that you specifically don't have. That's how I know it's really not about accountability and tearing down these systems because it's so convenient. It's only the privileges that you don't have that you want other people to get rid of. Only the privileges other people have that you want to banish. It's weird. It's weird because keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. Before I like finish the video, I also wanted to talk about, of course, about other dark skinned women doing this thing where, okay, colorism is there. We know of its existence, right? But you now have to go up to other dark skinned women and now convince them that they're not getting the same shine. That, oh, you would have been so much bigger if you were light skinned. Oh, if only you were light skinned. Stop. All of the stuff. Even though they can have the best accolades, they could have an amazing career, but they will still say to that woman, oh, well, you could have been like Zendaya. You could have been like this person, or, maybe if you were white, you would have gotten this and you would have gotten that. And my thing is, oh, before I even go into that. So, for example, Kiki Palmer, right? Um, sorry, I got distracted. Palmer and how people are saying, oh, Kiki Palmer should be bigger, and she would have been like Zendaya if she was light skinned and all and mixed and all this stuff, right? Meanwhile, Kiki Palmer herself had to come out and say, "Baby, I'm Kiki Palmer, True Jackson VP." Like Kiki Palmer, why are people acting as if Kiki Palmer has done nothing? She's been in nothing. She hasn't, had any shine or anything like that. I've been knowing Kiki Palmer. I've been seeing Kiki Palmer in things like Akilah and the Bee. She had her own show. Did y'all not watch True Jackson VP? Was that just not a thing? You know, she just, and then they'll say, well, like, did y'all not watch Moesha? Did y'all not watch Ant Farm? China and McClain was the main character of that show. Like, it's like, do y'all, it's like, I feel like they just focus on TV shows and media in Hollywood that has none of their representation in there and then cry about it. Why would you even focus on it? Because I was more focused on Ant Farm and That's So Raven and shows like that than anything else. Why would I focus? I loved Hannah Montana as well, right? But was I solely focused on Hannah Montana? No. Why are y'all so obsessed with looking to Hollywood as your representation? Do you not have people in your actual life that look like you? Do you not like, is nobody around you black? You don't have a black mother, you don't have a black father. I don't, like, an auntie or something, an uncle, grandma, happy? I'm confused. I'm so confused. Grandpappy, I'm confused because the way y'all are looking to Hollywood to be your end all be all is confusing to me. The way you're all acting like they're not so they're like I just don't get it. I just don't get it because it feels like these women project their insecurities onto other dark skinned black women. It really does. Because as soon as you don't feel that type of low self-esteem, all of a sudden, oh, you must be a colorist. Oh, you must think you're white. Oh, you're a coon, you're a mammy. You know, like when Cash Doll said, oh, I don't really experience colorism like that, when Phil Millie said it. Now all of a sudden, oh, she's a colorist. Oh, she's a dummy and all of this stuff, and now you're canceling her. Now, why are y'all so quick to cancel dark skinned black women who say, I haven't really been experiencing colorism like that. And even if you're thinking, oh, well, they're in denial, why would you cancel them instead of comforting them, instead of rallying around them as a community? You would rather cancel them. You would rather cancel them. So it's like when y'all talk about the sisterhood and the black community and all of this stuff, it's like, girl, girl, when has there ever been a community? The last time that there's really been a community was like 50s when we were, you know, really in that shit of in that Jim Crow South, you know. Think about the communities then. How were they stronger then than now? Look at where we have come, how we have regressed so far. I blame gangster rap. I blame the rise of misogyny. I blame the fact that y'all are so unbelievably insecure in yourselves and want to be white so bad. Y'all say exoticals want to be white so bad. Baby, I'm not rushing to a white man to have mixed children and then claiming I hate mixed women. I'm not doing that. But you are in droves. I'm not moving to a white community to erase my blackness. I'm not moving to a white community because I'm scared of black people. Y'all are. And of course, there's reasons for that, like the crab in the barrel mentality that some Black places have, and how if you stay there when you have money too long, you get robbed and things like that. Of course. But it's very convenient that it's rules for thee, not rules for me. You know, it's always that way. There's no accountability. There's no pressure to do better. It's vibes. Just vibes and dustiness. Just all of that. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And it gets depressing because it's like this is what I'm supposed to raise children in, a community of people who don't even want to be Black, but yet they're claiming they're the blueprint. I'm supposed to be in community with y'all when you can't even understand the fact that your hair is kinky curly. Well, not kinky curly, but um kinky coily. Most Black people have kinky coily hair, right? Not curly. It's very interesting that they keep saying that they have curly hair, or they have curly hair, da da da, and gatekeeping curly hair and saying, oh, you don't have curly hair, you have wavy hair. Who made you the boss of anything? I thought y'all said you didn't have a pedestal, you didn't have social capital, so why would you run anything here? Why would you be able to tell anything about anybody about anything? I'm confused. But when it comes to trying to cancel people, now all of a sudden you have social capital. Now all of a sudden y'all have a pedestal, and we're gonna ruin your career, Tyler. We're gonna ruin your career. Yeah, but y'all can't even understand that your hair looks different than most of the world, and that it doesn't behave the same way. And y'all keep complaining about frizz. Are you dumb? Like, it must be some sort of mental illness. It really must be the chemicals from that wig you put on your head so damn much. It really must be. Because there's no way you're sitting here complaining about frizziness when babe, huh? Like, I can't. Most of y'all won't even come to terms with the fact that you can't use a high yellow concealer and it look good. It really doesn't. Because why are you ebony everywhere else and you're a red bone in the middle of your face? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? And then y'all will top it off with the nose contour and then the impoverished Indian woman hair. I just, ugh, I just, you're under spells, people. You're under spells. Who, who is raising y'all? Where are y'all coming? The low self-esteem I'm seeing in droves, in droves. So how is there so many young Black women on TikTok crying about, I hate my skin color so much. I'm so ugly. Oh, you know, when I think I'm pretty or I think I'm decent, but I know I'll never amount. I'll never be the light-skinned baddie with 3C hair. I'll never be the Latina. I'll never be the Asian bad. What? What are y'all even talking about? What? Why? I just. And then y'all are talking about most Black women, young Black women have never been on a date before. Da, da, da. I just wonder what type of communities are y'all living in? What, because this is not a norm for where I grew up and where I live and things like that, right? They like most of my community that I've grown up in is really traditional African families, immigrant families and stuff like that. who are like, oh, you don't date until you're a certain age and things like that, right? But they were still dating. They were still dating people. They still had experience and things like that. And, you know, they they weren't having the same issues of colorism and hating their hair in the same way. So it's really weird to me. It's really weird and confusing. How many of y'all are on here crying, just complaining about men that don't even like you, begging men, and it's all for a man. They never talk about institutionalized racism. They never talk about it on the same level. If they really cared about police brutality, if they really cared about institutionalized racism and colorism, why would they not speak more about that? But instead, it's, oh, this black man didn't like me. He didn't pick me. Oh, he picked this light skinned woman, even though you've never met him. You're talking about this random man in Hollywood like he would ever know you. I'm. When will we start calling these women delusional? When will we start calling them for what they are? Mentally ill. Say it with me. Mentally ill. Thank you. And delusional. Because there's no way. There's no way you're folks. Imagine focusing on men that don't even like you. Your whole life. Your whole life is begging to be liked by people that will never like you, who know nothing about your existence, and focusing on Hollywood, and even though outside is notoriously racist and colorist and all this stuff, why would you focus on that? And why do y'all insist on ingesting media that, in your words, is colorist? They don't have the answers. They really don't have the answers. Anyway, I think that's all my thoughts. But yeah, don't know if I'll upload it again soon. I don't know, but I hope y'all enjoyed this rant. It's a bit, yeah, but hope y'all enjoy it. See y'all. Love y'all. Please like, please subscribe. Bye.